Hey Al, what are you up to?
So life has an interesting way. If you just stay ready for it without knowing or expecting things. We're sitting here. Emmy is playing in a boat. So the backstory to this, before I tell you all what's going on here, is got a call quite a few years ago from Jody, our landscaper, and she said, there's a boat for sale on this side of the road. I think you should check it out. It looks like it's got your name all over it. And it was somewhere that I would never have been going myself to have ever seen it. And I went there, and sure enough, here's this 24-foot lifeboat from a boat that the thing says USS Comer, C-O-M-B-E-R, and I cannot find that anywhere on the internet. But I decided we have to have this boat because I could see it being part of a pool project. And so this is where I'm saying kind of be ready for life, is the opportunity was there to buy a boat that I'd have no idea what to do with, although I had some really cool and crazy ideas. Bought the boat, put it in my yard, waiting for the right project to come along, and lo and behold, a week and a half ago, Sandy mentions to me that she got a text. And the text basically said, hey, I have a friend who has koi fish that he needs to get rid of because he sold his house. And she went on to say that these koi were mature, these were, he had been doing this for 20 years, and some of them are originally from Japan 20 years ago. So some of these koi are pretty old and they're really big, and he has a whole bunch of them and he needs to get rid of them. So Sandy mentions this to me on a Saturday, and I'm all in because I have always loved the idea of koi fish. I've had all kinds of other fish in the past, more domestic fish, trout and bass and stuff, and tried to raise them in ponds. But koi are just one of those exceptional things, just so different. And so I called Claire, and Claire gave me his number. I called Glenn, was his name, and he said, come get him next weekend. So last week, put this boat in the ground. I have at my house, I have a pond that we cleaned out. It hadn't been used in years. We cleaned it out, and it's now home to twice as many fish as we have here. But what made it interesting was the whole team came together and said, yes, let's do this. Let's muck out this nasty pond. Let's drag this boat over here. And what a story that was, just to get the boat here and then to dig it down a little bit to put it down on the ground. And then, of course, call some friends of mine in the pool business and ask if he has any above ground pool equipment. And he says, and that was Saturday, asked him Saturday, and Sunday morning, and I went and picked up a whole bunch of pumps and filters and things that we could use to filter the water until we figure exactly out what we're going to do. And the following Saturday, 2 trucks, we got a whole bunch of buckets. I had no idea how many fish or how big they'd be or anything. So we brought big totes half full of our water, and then we filled them up the rest with his water. And he was just uncovering them from the winter. He had 4 separate ponds, and we couldn't see anything. It was mucky, dirty, couldn't see a thing, couldn't even tell there was a fish in there. And the guy that was there that was cleaning them out and that was going to help us said, oh yeah, they're there. I've been taking care of them for 15 years. And so as this dirty, mucky water pumped down, you could see the shadows of these really big, amazingly colored fish. And so we start chasing them around and scooping them up with nets, and they're pretty smart. They look docile, but boy, when you try to put a net on them, it's next to impossible. And all of a sudden, we start bringing up these fish that some of them are this big, and they're just bigger and round and beautiful, and all the colors are amazing. And we got 2 of the ponds pumped down and basically filled one of the trucks, and then I took that truck with the first load of fish and brought them back, and the rest of the gang stayed there and collected the next round of fish from the next pond. And here we are days later. I mean, it's amazing to think that that we've had these fish for so few days, and yet they're so freaking amazing. I'm in love. I keep thinking, well, which fish would I be willing to get rid of? None of them. There's no amount of them. They're just unbelievable. And they're orange, and they're yellow, and they're silver, and they're kind of bluish and white, and just amazing. Anyway, I guess it's a lesson though about staying open to possibility, staying open to what if, and instead of saying no, I can't do it, decide to do it. And in our case, be ready for it. We wouldn't have been able to take them all because we wouldn't have had a place for them. But because of whether I would understand it as foresight now or not, we have this amazingly cool vessel that instead of having water on the outside, we decided to put water on the inside instead. And it's just a cool environment. We've got a whole bunch of koi in here now. We'll probably have to thin these out because this body of water isn't super big, although it's deceiving because under the bench is full of water as well. So from what you see here, there's probably twice that much water in this entire vessel. So there's plenty of water to sustain them. We just have to now figure out some of the plant life, and they're finally starting to feed. I've been sitting here now watching them. They're starting to see the food that I put on the surface, and they're coming up little by little. And I imagine as they warm up, as the season gets along and they warm up a little bit, because they've been dormant all winter, and they literally have just been waking up this last week or so. I imagine as time goes on here, they will probably be pretty excited about eating and that. But until that point, they're just sort of learning.
So we are at the mansion.
We are at the mansion, yeah.
And during this time of social...
Callie.
So during this time of social distancing, if people know where the mansion is and they promise to stay 6 feet away, you too can come and watch fish swim.
It's magical, isn't it?
It is. You could watch them
it's
for a long time.
You just watch them for hours and hours. And what a fun little adventure for anyone who might want to stop by and see them. They are here. Whether we're here or not, you can certainly find the boat and you'll find the fish. And they're here for all of our enjoyment. So that gets to that lesson of life. And just kind of be ready for anything and be hopeful for anything and look at the positive. And it's all the attitude that we bring at any given day. And we could be all depressed and sad about all what's going on and realizing the difficulties. Literally tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of fish, because these koi, as I'm learning, I mean, I've always known a little bit, but as I'm learning, some of these fish are incredibly valuable, and as a whole, it's just amazing. But really, the value is in the experience of being able to first go and get them, prep for them. Spent that week, several days, plumbing and prepping and just being excited about trying something that I had no idea. We had no idea what we were getting into. I had no idea what to expect. And yet, in the process of not knowing what to expect, it couldn't be more magical. And here I am just staring at these. Some of these fish are probably older than Molly. Molly's 15 years old. And so you think about how long they've been here as fish, and yet here they are hanging out with me and our boat made into a pond. It's pretty incredible. So I guess that's a big piece of just living in that yummy spot of life and just being prepared and always doing your best and being the best that you can be and hope for the best and also answer the call. I think that's a big piece of this too, is had Sandy not said anything, I wouldn't have known. And then had I not jumped on it quickly, who knows what would have happened. and within a matter of minutes, our life changed again into such a different magical way. And this is, it's worth seeing, that's for sure. Anybody in the area, it's definitely worth the view.